Nobody saw this coming. Just when fans thought the chaos between Yandhi, Tamar, and Mendeecees had finally cooled off, a brand new firestorm erupted this time, dragging Rasheeda and Kirk Frost into the center of the madness. It all started with one cryptic post from Mendeecees himself. No caption, no emojis, just a black background with white text that read, "Y'all think y'all the only ones who know the truth? Let's talk about who's really been playing who." Within minutes, social media detonated. Comments flooded in. He talking about Rasheeda. Wait, Kirk again? Didn't he just fix his marriage? Not Mendeecees turning whistleblower. Then before anyone could blink, Mendeecees went live, and what he said during that 19-minute stream would flip Love and Hip Hop's entire foundation upside down. Leaning back in a black hoodie, eyes steady but voice low, he began, "Y'all want real? Fine, let's get real. They've been front for years. All that perfect couple energy. It's a storyline. Ah, a lie, and I got proof. You didn't name names at first, but the hints were obvious. The married bosses of Atlanta, the power couple pretending to be loyal, the boutique empire built on betrayal. Everyone knew exactly who he meant. Rasheeda and Kirk. What started as a quiet late-night live turned into a full-blown internet meltdown. Screenshots, DMIs, old reunion clips. Fans dug up everything. And when Mendeecees finally dropped the receipts he'd been holding, it became clear that this wasn't about petty gossip anymore. This was about secrets, allegiances, and a betrayal that had been festering behind the cameras for years. And if Mendeecees' story is true, then Love and Hip Hop might never recover from what he just exposed. Before the internet turned into a battlefield of hashtags and think pieces, there was history, years of entanglements, alliances, and unspoken tension brewing beneath the surface of the Love and Hip Hop empire. The Mendeecees seed connection didn't start with chaos. It started with ambition back in the early 2010s, when Love and Hip Hop was still defining what reality fame looked like. Mendeecees and Yandhi were the East Coast power couple, while Rasheeda and Kirk were holding it down in the South. They were the faces of the franchises to Beating Hearts New York and Atlanta. Both couples were sold to the public as the blueprint for love, surviving scandal, money, and fame. Behind the scenes though, things were rarely that clean. According to longtime insiders, production teams often pitted the two couples against each other quietly. In planning meetings and PR conversations, they were compared constantly. Who's the better businesswoman, Yandhi or Rasheeda? Who's the real boss, husband Mendeecees or Kirk? Which couple sells the story of redemption better? It wasn't just gossip, it with strategy. Executives believed rivalry made better ratings. And for years it kept the two couples orbiting each other without ever directly colliding. But all that changed once the ratings began to slip around 2020. A leaked network memo from that period, later verified by multiple outlets, revealed producers brainstorming a crossover special titled Couple Goals East Meets South. The pitch was simple: bring Yandhi and Mendeecees to Atlanta to share the stage with Rasheeda and Kirk, blending their storylines and uniting their fan bases. On paper, it sounded like a win, but according to crew members who worked on the early pre-production stages, what unfolded off camera was anything but collaborative. The two couples reportedly clashed from day one. Yandhi, known for her professionalism and polished brand, wanted the crossover to highlight growth, business, and legacy. Rasheeda, on the other hand, wanted authenticity, a chance to show her and Kirk's real struggles. The problem, real meant different things to different people. Yandhi wanted boundaries. Rasheeda wanted the ratings dot, that creative friction, carried into filming during a table scene in Atlanta that never aired. An argument reportedly erupted after a producer asked both women to discuss how they handled infidelity on camera. Yan froze. She wasn't comfortable comparing her marriage to Kirk's infamous cheating scandals. But Rasheeda didn't hold back. "We all got skeletons, girl," Rasheeda allegedly snapped. Yours just still wearing the wedding ring." Crew members later claimed Yandy walked off set in tears, while Mendes followed her out muttering, "They really playing dirty." That footage, multiple insiders say, was buried by the network, but the animosity it sparked never disappeared. After that disastrous taping, the crossover special was quietly scrapped, and everyone went back to their corners. But the damage had been done. The two couples, once cordial co-stars, had become silent rivals, feeling the other had crossed a line, and that's where the resentment began to grow. Years passed. Rasheeda and Kirk rebuilt their image as the reformed couple owning multiple businesses, hosting relationship panels, and selling the narrative of forgiveness and endurance. Meanwhile, Mendes and Yandy faced public criticism over his loyalty and her continued defense of him after prison. Their paths might have never crossed again, if not for a mutual friend, a promoter who reunited them in early 2023 for a charity event in Atlanta. CC cameras weren't rolling that night, but attendees say tension filled the room like smoke. One eyewitness told Urban Buzz Weekly, "You could tell they were trying to play nice, but there was energy." Rasheeda and Yandy barely spoke. Mendes looked annoyed the whole time. Kirk kept making jokes that weren't landing. It was awkward. But behind the scenes, something else was brewing. According to an anonymous producer, the event wasn't as innocent as it seemed. VH1 cameras were actually there, filming background material for an upcoming reunion. Documentaries on the most iconic love and hip-hop couples. The footage, which never aired, allegedly captured Mendeecees venting to Kirk in a private side conversation. "Bro, it's crazy how they rewrite everything for TV." Mendes said, "They make you the villain when you're the only one keeping it real." Kirk reportedly nodded and replied, "That's the game, man. You either play it or get played." At first, it was just two men bonding over shared frustration. But then something changed. Mendes apparently confided that he was done letting the network control his image. Okay. And had files proving years of behind-the-scenes manipulation. "They think we the puppets," he said. "But I kept receipts." Kirk allegedly laughed it off, saying, "Man, you better leave that alone before they bury you in edits." That moment recorded, archived and forgotten, would come back to haunt them all. Because months later, when the Tamar Braxton scandal exploded and Mendeecees' reputation hit rock bottom, that old bitterness resurfaced while the world dragged him for betrayal. Insiders say Mendes started calling out the hypocrisy of other couples who played perfect for cameras while hiding their own chaos. One of those couples, Rasheeda and Kirk. He'd watched them brand themselves as the face of forgiveness, all while, according to him, hiding the truth about their own business arrangement, marriage. And when Rasheeda started going live, making subtle jabs about grown men needing accountability, that's when Mendes decided he'd had enough. The man who'd once kept silent for contracts was done. Protecting the narrative. The live stream that broke the internet wasn't spontaneous. It was the climax of years of resentment, deceit, and behind-the-scenes rivalry that had been simmering since the first crossover fell apart. And when Mendes finally decided to speak, he didn't come to play fair, because the secrets he spilled about Rasheeda and Kirk weren't just personal, they were financial, contractual, and career-ending. And once he said the words, "I got proof," nothing would ever be the same again. The live stream started like any other rant, unplanned, late at night, grainy quality, just DC sitting in his car with the dome light on. But within 2 minutes, it was obvious this wasn't just another defensive monologue. His tone was too calm, his gaze too sharp. He wasn't venting, he was targeting. "Y'all really believe everything y'all see on that show?" he began. "Y'all really think Rasheeda and Kirk got this fairy tale y'all love to repost? You think that forgiveness was real? You think them boutiques and businesses are just hustle and loyalty?" He paused, smirked, and said, Nah, it's paperwork. All of it. I've seen the contracts. The comments section instantly went berserk. What contracts he talking about that prenup? No way he's spilling this on live. Mendes leaned closer to the camera, lowering his voice, like he was letting the world in on a conspiracy. See, what they don't tell y'all is that half the love and hip-hop marriages ain't marriages. The arrangements. That Kirk and Rasheeda empire y'all praise. It's a business merger. Been that way for years. Statement hit like a grenade. Thaman, who'd been dragged for cheating, for scandal, for betrayal, was now implying that Rasheeda and Kirk, the poster children of black love through storms, were faking everything for the cameras. But he wasn't finished. Y'all remember when Kirk had that baby on her? The whole world cried for Rasheeda, right? Thought it was real heartbreak. Guess who leaked that storyline before it aired? Guess who sold the narrative to make sure the cameras were rolling when it broke? He raised an eyebrow. Rasheeda herself. Fans in the chat exploded. Nah, she ain't sell her own pain. Not Rasheeda being her own PR machine. Not Rasheeda being her own PR machine. Man dropping bombs like he got receipts. And then he did. Bombs like he got receipts. And then he did. Mendes pulled up a screenshot on his phone, flashing it toward the camera, just long enough for viewers to grab screenshots. It appeared to be an old email chain, dated 2017, between a VH1 senior producer and someone with the initials RF subject line confidential storyline authorization. The message read, confirmed agreement. The narrative is strong. She understands this is the most emotional direction. Proceed with discretion. He didn't say it outright, but everyone knew what R stood for. LHHATL. Within minutes that screenshot was everywhere. Twitter exploded. Blogs froze their regular coverage, and TMZ producers reportedly scrambled to verify the leak. But what made it worse, much worse, was that Mendes kept going. Y'all see a loyal wife, but what I saw was a woman signing NDAs to make sure that forgiveness turned into TV gold. Kirk didn't cheat for drama. He cheated for ratings, and when he got caught, they both cashed out. The comment section froze, then erupted again. Ain't no way this man just said that. So, the baby scandal was staged. I knew that whole arc was too convenient. For nearly 10 minutes, Mendes tore through what he called fabricated redemption. He accused Rasheeda and Kirk of using their marriage as a contractual performance, claiming their brand endorsements and boutique expansions were funded through the pain they licensed to VH1. They turned tears into trademarks. He said that's the real hustle. But the part that broke the internet wasn't the receipts or the accusations. It was the moment he called out Rasheeda directly. He leaned forward, eyes hard. You went live talking about accountability, right? Talking like you holier than thou. Saying people need to stop blaming producers and own their choices. Cool, then own yours. Own how you dragged Yandy behind the scenes. Own how you sat in Mona's office and told her Yandy's marriage wasn't real enough to sell. I was there, Rasheeda. I heard you. The live went silent for a beat. Then the comments detonated again. He's exposing meetings now. That's why Yandy never rocked with her FR. VH1 ain't surviving this one. Mendes wasn't shouting. He wasn't even angry. His calm delivery made every word land harder. He described a meeting allegedly held in 2018 where Rasheeda, frustrated with declining Atlanta ratings, had suggested pivoting focus to more aspirational couples, specifically naming Yandy and Mendes as examples of unrealistic storylines that hurt authenticity. She said they were too polished. Two fake Mendeces continued, and Mona agreed. That's why they started pushing them chaos arcs. Tamar, the fake separation, all of it. They wanted messy love to win again. It was the most detailed on-record attack on the love and hip-hop machine in years. Then it was coming from inside the house. But then came the twist no one expected. After 20 minutes of fiery revelations, Mendeecees suddenly changed his tone. His voice softened. He sighed and said, almost regretfully, "You know what's crazy? I used to look up to Kirk. Thought he was the OG, the one who figured out how to beat the system. But I found out the system built him." He paused, staring down for a moment before continuing. "He used to tell me, 'Don't fight the edit, feed it.' Said the trick was learning how to make the pain profitable. That's why he stayed after every scandal, not because of love, but because leaving meant losing everything. And Rasheeda knew it. The revelation was devastating because it reframed everything fans thought they knew about the Frost marriage. They weren't surviving despite the show. They were surviving because of it. But Mendes wasn't done yet. He closed with one last chilling line before abruptly ending the stream. "I ain't even scratched the surface. There's paperwork, audio, and one video that'll show y'all exactly how deep this goes. But when I drop it, some people's careers ain't gonna recover." Then click live over dot. The internet went feral. Every entertainment account rushed to post the replay. But within an hour, the entire live stream vanished from Mendeecees' profile. Deleted, gone. That only made things worse. Fans screamed cover up. Conspiracy threads flooded Reddit. Bloggers claimed the network had stepped in. A few even alleged that Rasheeda and Kirk's legal team had already issued takedown notices, but screenshots and clips were everywhere. You can't erase what millions already saw, and just when everyone thought that chaos had peaked, Mendes reappeared the next day on Twitter with a single message that made the entire internet stop scrolling. "They told me not to talk. Now I'm ready to show." Attached was a teaser clip, 10 seconds long, of a blurry camera panning over what looked like contract papers, ending on a signature labeled K Frost, and a watermark that read "Confidential VH1 Production Finance." The caption Episode 2, "The Real Contracts." The bombshell wasn't done exploding dot, because Mendeecees wasn't bluffing, and what he was about to release next wouldn't just ruin reputations dot. It would expose the machinery that had kept love and hip-hop running for over a decade, and this time no one, not even Rasheeda, could stop him. When Mendes posted that 10-second teaser Episode 2, "The Real Contracts," the entire entertainment world froze. Fans weren't just curious anymore. They were obsessed. Every gossip page, every podcast, every talk show wanted to know what those documents really showed. Within hours, hashtags like Dr. Frost Files, Shutter Mendeecees Exposed, and Shutter VH1 Receipts trended worldwide. The man who'd once been a walking scandal had now become the whistleblower of reality television. Then at exactly midnight Eastern Time, the video dropped. It wasn't posted to Instagram or TikTok. Menace released it on a brand new KA YouTube channel called Truth After Edits, with a simple description. No filters, no producers, just proof. The video opened with static, then faded to black and white footage of Mendes sitting at a desk, surrounded by papers, emails, and printed contracts. His tone was calm, deliberate, almost like a courtroom testimony. "This ain't about beef, this about truth. I protected a lot of people because I believed in loyalty, but loyalty without honesty is just silence. And silence keeps the same people rich, who built their empires off our pain." Then he began reading. One document appeared to be a contract amendment between Rasheeda Frost and Mona Scott Entertainment, dated 2018, outlining cooperative storyline adjustments and image rehabilitation clauses. In short, TIT was a payoff structure. Every time Rasheeda and Kirk successfully reconciled or executed a public F-facing unity initiative, they'd receive a bonus performance fee. In plain language, they were paid to stay together. Mendeecees scrolled through the pages, slowly showing the signature lines. One signed R. Frost, the other K. Frost. He blurred the rest, but read a single chilling line aloud. Continuation of relationship narrative required through end of production cycle, subject to audience engagement retention metrics. If snake emojis. Kirk's old apology clips were remixed into memes. Former Love and Hip Hop castmates began subtly choosing sides. Erica Dixon tweeted, "Not surprised. Some of us knew, but stayed quiet." K. Michelle posted a cryptic note on her story. Been saying it. They sell pain like perfume. But even more explosive were the fan detectives, who started connecting dots Mendes hadn't even mentioned. They found timestamps, old reunion footage, inconsistencies in Rasheeda and Kirk's storylines, even noting that certain spontaneous fights happened at the exact same point in the season every year. It was like watching an empire crumble in real time. And just when everyone thought Rasheeda would stay silent forever, she finally broke. 2 days later, she went live on Instagram. Eyes red, voice trembling, clearly furious. "I don't care what y'all heard. Half them clips are fake, half them documents are old, and the rest don't prove nothing. I've built my brand from the ground up. Prove nothing. I've built my brand from the ground up. Kirk and I went through hell, and if we turn that into something positive, so what? That's business, not betrayal." But the part that made headlines wasn't her defense. It was the slip-up she made mid-rant. Why? All out here, believing a man who begged me for advice when the network wanted to cut his story. Don't forget, Men's. You came to me talking about contracts too. Within seconds, the internet exploded again. Fans caught it instantly. Rasheeda had just admitted to off-screen conversations that shouldn't have existed if everything was truly separate. So, she was coaching him. They were all in on it. This is deeper than befits a full cover-up. And then, like clockwork, Mendes returned to Twitter with one final post before vanishing offline. Funny thing about advice, you can't deny it when it's recorded. Attached was an audio file titled RF All One, MP3, arable quotes. Nobody could open it. It was locked behind a password, but the caption under it read, "Friday, 8 hours PM. Truth drops." The entire entertainment industry froze. Every outlet scheduled coverage. Every gossip YouTuber set countdown timers. Even VH1 insiders began leaking whispers about a crisis meeting being held to discuss containment strategy. Whatever was on that audio, whatever Mendes had recorded, it wasn't just gossip anymore. It was evidence. And if that audio said what everyone feared, it did. It wouldn't just end reputations. It could end the entire Love and Hip Hop franchise as we know it. By the time the clock hit 8:02 PM that Friday, the entire internet was holding its breath. Tens of thousands of people had countdown timers set on their phones. The words "Afash Truth" drops were trending in 15 countries. Even major networks like The Breakfast Club and The Shad Room ran live watch parties, waiting to see what Mendes would release. But when the clock finally struck 8, something strange happened. The audio didn't appear on his YouTube channel. It didn't go live on Instagram. It wasn't even on his Twitter feed anymore. The tweet vanished, replaced by a blank profile picture and one chilling post. They tried to shut it down, but I sent copies. That single line sent social media into meltdown. Who had the files? Who were the copies sent to? And what did Rasheeda and Kirk do to keep them buried? Within minutes, chaos unfolded. Several entertainment blogs claimed to have received encrypted folders directly from Truth after edits. Mendeecees channel, Alias. Each folder contained short time-stamped voice notes labeled things like :1 production, meeting, Rash Kirk, and reunion proof, while none of them were immediately playable without the right key. A few seconds of muffled sound were enough to make one thing clear. These weren't fakes. The audio was real. You could hear background voices, laughter, and at least once someone unmistakably calling out, "Kirk!" Fans went into detective mode, piecing together every second. TikTok became a forensic lab. with creators isolating frequencies, boosting volume, and sharing clips slowed down for clarity. In one clip, a voice sounding eerily like Rasheeda says, "We'll just tell them it's a trust exercise." Another, allegedly Kirk, replies, "Long as Mona signs off, I'm good." Every outlet from Page 6 to Essence picked it up. Headlines screamed, "New audio implicates Frost's encrypted scandal cover-up." VH1 under fire after alleged coaching recordings leak. Is Mendeecees the whistleblower reality TV needed? Behind the scenes, panic erupted in corporate offices. VH1 issued a formal cease and desist to multiple blogs, calling the files unverified materials illegally obtained. But it was too late. The internet had already duplicated everything. And then, in one of the wildest turns of the entire saga, a verified insider stepped forward. A former post-production supervisor from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, who identified herself only as Renee. She joined a live stream with entertainment podcaster Armin Wiggins and dropped the kind of confirmation no one thought they'd ever hear. Those recordings are real. I was in 2 of those meetings. They were absolutely told to reenact events. Rasheeda wasn't being forced. She was part of it. Kirk too. They'd refilm scenes to make it look raw. We were told to make it believable trauma. The internet exploded. Fans didn't just feel duped. They felt betrayed. Dot comment sections across Rasheeda's and Kirk's old posts, filled with furious messages. "We defended you for years, just to find out it was all staged. You made us root for a love story that was never real." Mendes might have been messy, but at least he's honest. Even celebrities began weighing in. 50 Cent reposted a meme of Rasheeda and Kirk with the caption, "Power couple or power contract." Nicki Minaj commented under it with a cryptic. Cardi B tweeted, "That's why I left TV. Too much script, not enough truth." Meanwhile, Tamar Braxton, who had been keeping her distance since the earlier drama, finally broke her silence, writing on Threads, "Sometimes God let the truth expose itself, so you can see who was never your enemy." Fans took it as her siding with Mendes, but the most shocking reaction came from Yandhi herself. After weeks of silence, he posted a single clip to Instagram old reunion footage of Rasheeda once saying, "We don't fake our storylines. We real over here." Yandhi added no caption, just a single emoji. A clown dot. The internet lost its mind. Yandhi said it without saying it. The real queen just dropped her mic. VH1 better lawyer up. Behind closed doors, VH1's crisis team scrambled to contain the damage. Reporters confirmed multiple emergency meetings were held to evaluate brand integrity and talent trust. Sponsors for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta quietly began pulling their funding. Then, just when it seemed Rasheeda and Kirk had gone completely silent, a mysterious message appeared on Rasheeda's Instagram story. A black screen with white letters, reading, "It's deeper than contracts. He knows why I stayed quiet." Within seconds, Mendes responded on Twitter, "Say it then. Don't hide behind NDAs." It was the showdown everyone had been waiting for. But before Rasheeda could respond, Kirk broke his silence first. He posted a video short, shaky, and filmed in his car, just like Mendeecees' original bombshell. "I'm done letting folks talk like they got all the facts." Kirk said, "Yeah, mistakes were made, but half the stuff in them clips don't show context. Y'all act like y'all never stayed for business. Marriage is business. We just made it work for both." The reaction was immediate and brutal. Fans tore through his comments, calling it an admission, a deflection, and even corporate gaslighting. Then Rasheeda reposted his clip, but added a caption that made jaws drop. "Not me being blamed for doing exactly what he told me to." It was chaos. Their unity shattered in real time. Podcasters dubbed it the Frost Fallout. Love and Hip Hop alumni began doing interviews, confirming long-held rumors about scripted couples and pre-agreed fights. A former editor even leaked a screenshot of a folder labeled S13 Rasheeda crying cut to final. Over. And through it all, Mendeecees remained silent. His accounts wiped. His videos gone. But his shadow loomed everywhere. Every whisper, every post, every leak traced back to him. By now, the narrative had shifted. He wasn't just the villain of old love and hip-hop. He was the man who cracked the entire fate of reality. Television wide open, but the calm before the next storm wouldn't last. Because just when fans started speculating that he'd gone into hiding, Rasheeda appeared on a podcast and said something that made the internet stop dead in its tracks. He's gonna act like a saint. Then maybe I should tell y'all about the meeting he had with Mona and the lawyers right before all this started. Let's see how righteous he is. After that, her co-host asked what she meant. Rasheeda smirked, looked right into the camera, and said one line that made the world gasp. He didn't leak those files to expose the truth. He leaked them because he was paid to. The studio went silent. The clips spread everywhere. And suddenly, the story wasn't about Rasheeda and Kirk's lies anymore. It was about Mendeecees himself, who paid him. Why now? And what did they gain from blowing up the love and hip-hop empire? The answers, insiders whispered, were coming next. And they weren't ready for how dark they were. When Rasheeda accused Mendeecees of being paid to leak everything, the narrative flipped instantly. The man who'd been hailed as the whistleblower of reality TV was suddenly the villain again, or maybe the pawn. Nobody knew who to believe. The internet divided overnight. Half of Twitter screamed, "He sold out for clout." The other half fired back, "She's lying to save herself." Every gossip outlet pushed a different theory, but the most chilling speculation came from inside VH1 itself. An anonymous executive reached out to the Jasmine brand, claiming Mendeecees' truth. After Edit's videos were actually part of a planned expo special. An upcoming Doozers, the network had quietly greenlit before the scandal erupted. The title behind the franchise. According to The Insider, producers wanted to reveal the hidden politics of reality TV through a controlled narrative, but something went wrong. He was supposed to cooperate under contract, The Insider said. Instead, he went rogue. He dropped footage early outside the network's plan. And that's when everything spiraled. If true, it meant Mendeecees hadn't been some independent truth teller. He'd been part of the machine the entire team, until he turned against it. Then, just when it seemed like the story couldn't get messier, leaked financial records appeared on Reddit under the title Precious Project Reform Files. The documents listed multiple consulting payments from an LLC linked to Viacom, allegedly sent to Mendeecees. In the months leading up to his first bombshell livestream, one line item stood out. Narrative Cooperation Agreement. $120,000. Screenshots spread faster than wildfire. Fans were outraged. He exposed them using their own money. One tweet read, "This is the most reality TV plot twist ever." For 2 days, Mendeecees said nothing. His pages were silent. His videos vanished. His truth, after Edit's channel, suddenly went private. Then, out of nowhere, he reappeared on TikTok, sitting in a dark room, the glow of his phone lighting half his face. "You think they paid me to tell the truth?" he said quietly. "Nah, they paid me to keep quiet. I just didn't take their orders." The video cut off after 10 seconds, but that was enough. It reignited the entire frenzy. Rasheeda doubled down on her claim, insisting on the neighborhood talk, that she had proof he took the deal. Kirk went live beside her, saying he's mad because they dropped him from the project once they saw he couldn't be trusted. An audio clip leaked the next morning, reportedly from that same, behind the franchise planning code, featuring a man whose voice sounded suspiciously like Kirk, saying as long as he talks first, it takes heat off us. Okay, now their suspicion turned back to them. Blogs erupted again, so they really tried to throw him under the bus. Did VH1 set up its own downfall? Everyone's guilty. No one's innocent. At this point, reality blurred into chaos. Fans didn't know what was authentic anymore. Every truth was wrapped in another contradiction. Yandy's silence since the Frost fallout broke her silence with a single line posted to her story. When liars argue, the truth takes notes. Her post went viral, reaching 2 million views in hours. People begged her to spill what she knew. She didn't. But the next day, someone else did a Reddit account called @TheGhostEditor, uploaded a 7-second clip showing the ending of Mendeecees' last truth. After edits, beat out the part he'd cut off before uploading. In it, you could see him sliding a USB drive across the table to someone off-screen. A female voice says, "You know what happens if you release this, right?" And Mendeecees replies, "Then it won't just be their truth or man, it'll be ours." The camera turns slightly, and for a single frame, you can see who's sitting across from him. Rasheeda. That one frame broke the internet all over again. They were working together this whole time. No way, this is real. This is movie-level plotting. So she leaked herself to frame him. VH1 denied the clip, immediately calling it deepfake fabrication. But nobody believed them. For weeks, fans obsessed over theories. Was Rasheeda secretly feeding him information to burn the network? Was this revenge for being exploited for years? Or was the clip another calculated illusion designed to keep the audience guessing? Then out of nowhere, Yandy posted again just a black screen with white text that read, "The final cut's not theirs anymore." And minutes later, a private YouTube link began circulating through fan group chats and subreddits. The thumbnail showed Rasheeda, Kirk, Mendeecees, and Yandy sitting in what looked like a hotel conference room, and filtered, unedited, cameras rolling, the title, "The Real Episode." The link vanished 30 minutes later, but everyone who saw it swore the same thing. It ended with Mendeecees turning to the camera and saying, "This is the episode they said would never air." The screen cut to black, and then just before fading out, one line appeared. Next, the network responds. No one knows who uploaded it. VH1 denies involvement. But one thing's for sure, this wasn't the end. It was the cliffhanger of a lifetime. Because now fans weren't just watching love and hip-hop anymore. They were living it. So now the question everyone's asking is this: who's really telling the truth? Was Mendeecees the rebel who finally exposed the puppet masters behind reality TV, or just another pawn in a game that's been controlling everyone from the start? Did Rasheeda betray him, more collaborate with him to burn the system that built her? And if that leaked real episode footage was legit, then how deep does the manipulation really go? Because this isn't just drama anymore. It's a mirror. For years, love and hip-hop sold us pain, wrapped in glamour, betrayal edited into storylines, and forgiveness choreographed for ratings. But this scandal pulled the curtain back, and what we saw wasn't just messy relationships. It was a billion-dollar industry, feeding on our emotions, scripting chaos to keep us watching. Mendeecees didn't just drop receipts, he dropped a warning. Rasheeda didn't just defend herself. She reminded us that every truth online is edited, every confession cut to fit a frame. And Yandy, her silence has become louder than anyone's live stream. So, what do you believe? Was Mendeecees a hero, or did he sell out for one last headline? Is Rasheeda really the villain? Or is she the only one brave enough to admit she played the game better than anyone else? And what's the real story behind that USB drive? The one that supposedly contains the real episode. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Every theory counts, and trust me, the truth always hides in the comments section first. Hit like. If you think this saga just exposed the real mechanics of reality TV, hit subscribe if you want to be here when the next leak drops, because you know there's more coming. And remember, when you see that coming soon teaser, that cliffhanger tweet, that perfectly timed meltdown, don't just react. Ask yourself who wrote it, because as this story proves, nothing on camera is coincidence. Every confession is strategy. Every scandal is scripted. And sometimes the realest thing you can do is stop believing the edit, believing the edit. Stop believing the edit, believing the edit.